Shalom, it's Selfie Cats. Hey guys, welcome back to Selfie Sunday episode 3 of season 12. So I have a few things I want to discuss this week. I'm really in the mode of really kind of speaking on things that are considered empowering, but also not for myself, but for other women, you know. Hold on, I'm just going to brighten this up. Okay. Like I said, for not just for myself, but other black women, okay? POC, people of color. Mostly predominantly black women. Black women. Full black, okay? I have to say that as well. Alright, so the information I have on my phone is 1717 is the number. Alright, so the episode is called Who's Going to Love Me? So my intention is to discuss my role as a black woman and my role as a spiritual mother, to validate my feelings as both, okay? So we're going to go to the book of Women Who Run with the Wolves. I am just reading through this slowly and really processing this information. That way I'm digesting it when I do go into the field, because it always talks about returning home, returning to this space, returning to the peace, okay? So, here we go. Alright, so you guys can check out page 264, the first paragraph, so the full. I'm going to read that. Okay, so the development of knowing, as in the virgins of Bluebird, Rapunzel's, Devil's Midwife, and Briar Rose, and others began with suffering. This progresses from the first being unaware, then tricked into one way or another, and thence finding one's way to power again, and more so to death, okay? So the theme of a fateful catching that tests the consciousness and ends up in a deep knowing is a timeless one in fairy tales with feminine protagonists. Okay, so I circle that word, so it's going to be a keyword that we use for the week. Such tales carry dense instruction to all of us about our work is, if and we are captured, how to come back from it, and with the ability to pasar al través del bosque como de una lobo. Okay, to slip through the forest like a wolf, con un ojo agudo, with a shrewd eye, okay? So I reference the shrewd eye to the third eye, or kind of like, you know, having some, interest in, okay? So I also have third paragraph, last sentence, okay? So the return to the wildest state periodically is what replenishes her psychic reservoirs for her projects, family, relationships, and creative life in the topside world, okay? So you make sure you guys read that as well. I also have the third paragraph, but that was the key point of the third paragraph, okay? So the pelt in this story is not so much of an article as representation of a feeling state and state of being, one that is cohesive, soulful, and the wildest female nature, okay? So when a woman is in this state, she entirely feels in herself instead of out of herself, and wondering if she's doing right, acting right, thinking well. Though this state of being in oneself is one she occasionally loses touch with, the time she previously spent there sustains her while she is about her work in the world, okay? So even in this moment with myself now, I consider this me in the world with my work, okay? So, as you continue on, so I had a quote that I was going to tweet, but I was like, I'll save it for the video. So persistence, because I had the number 505 in my mind. So persistence is the reward of self-discipline, okay? Persistence is the reward of self-discipline, but it's also a reward of change, okay? Persistence is the reward of change. So if you want something to change, you automatically attract those words of persistence and self-discipline, okay? But moving forward, excuse it. I can't silence people. So anyway, preference is not anti, okay? So what else do you have in common when you've both acknowledged that you don't like black women? So the video that you guys are going to see, you guys can check the description below. It's by Jackie Ayana. She did, Get Ready With Me, but she was talking about how preference in black men, etc., etc. So I really have, I've been getting triggered a lot lately on numerous levels of, my spiritual growth and my spiritual development. So I really been wanting to kind of, channel, I guess, how I felt about that. Preference is not anti, okay? So if you have to say I like this and don't like that, then you're prejudiced, or aka racist. And there is a such thing as being black racist, okay? There's such thing as not acknowledging your own race as a beautiful identification, okay? So I really kind of just watched the video and felt like, she was going to hit on the points. I'm not here to, shame anybody, but I'm also not here to praise anybody. I actually had to grow out of my praise. And I know it sounds sick. It sounds so sick because I watched a few other videos this week about TikTok being racist. That's kind of why I won't really join the platform. I did go on there just to secure my name, my tag, but I don't know if I want to be in something that pushes the agenda of racism, okay, or pushes the agenda of separation, really, within matters of color, okay. But so okay, so I was thinking about this. So I went on an event walk yesterday, and I realized like the last 3 partners that I had, or the last 3 people that I dated, I'm using that dated, they had anti-black approach to pursuing me, and it was really like kind of like once something continues to comes up, you kind of like okay, and it creates that word vomit, or it creates that vomit within your own self. I'm not into really discriminate. I'm not into creating a narrative about black men for myself that I have not lived through, So this 3 coming into me is kind of like these 3, particular beings, they're wolfish men, they're wolfish men. And I'm not calling them like, they're wolfish men. And I have to say that because they're wild, they are aggressive, and they seek to fill a void in their insecurities, especially when it comes to me, knowing that they know I vulnerably praise them, I vulnerably worship black men, especially of my tone. So there's no greater identification for me to see love than someone who looks like me, And I also identify, like I said, I have an array of colors, variations of black and white in my family, black and Latino, So that really is something that I don't, separate. But it's like, oh, when I get to identify and be closely, I guess, in love with, I do seek that. I have sought that. But now I'm in this space where I'm kind of like, wow, I do not have to receive the highest, I guess, expression of myself through my same skin tone. And that's, okay, so now this is where I kind of check myself, because it is a conversation that I have with myself about, can men have that same thing? That's why I said preference is not anti. Of course, my preference would be to display the highest expression of myself through my same, medium range of skin tone, if not darker. Darker the berry, sweeter the juice. Tupac, I've always put that in my mind for me to make that obtuse. Do you understand? I just want to rhyme a little bit. But now that I feel, not to say that it discouraged me from seeking my color, because I know there's men out there who proudly, represent this ray or represent this tone. As a mirror for them, and I understand when you go into genetics, you're like, okay, well, I want to develop these shades, I want to produce these shades. And I know family lineage is a lot different, because my family lineage is a lot different. We pair differently, okay? We pair differently, and it took me to come into my own family, and accept my lineage and how we reproduce, okay? Or it's just that's what it is, how we reproduce. So you kind of have to fall in line in that form of family colorism, okay? And then we also have, like I said, let me just get back on the subject because I can go in. But I don't know, I just felt like, okay, so the sentence that I had, what else do you have in common when you've both acknowledged that you don't like black women? So I remember the first woman, she was a different, like I said, she was a different genre of woman, like aka Latin. So that being her ray, you know what I mean? And I identify them as brown equally, but not as equally, So I identify them as brown, and then to see the narrative of her separation from me made me see the separation that she saw in the black man and his mother and his extension. It's like, okay, well, because we understand, like I always tell y'all, if we're talking about traditional religion or traditional spirituality, the man leaves the woman. The man leaves his family to be with the woman's family. So in that point, he leaves the black woman. He separates himself from the black woman and not saying that when you leave and go to another race that, you abandon your family and, see that as distasteful. But when you decide to separate and become that mirror of, they're all like, your tribes could either fight or strike. your tribe's gonna either yeah, like I was saying, they're either gonna strike or fight, okay? And if there isn't an alliance, like say if the whole line, you know, my whole lineage was, or whatever, the whole line, his line was like the black man's line was Afro Latino or Afro, you know what I mean, like Afro, okay? So then it just makes me wonder, in what mindset do you leave the impression of your mother that she has raised you as? What impression do you, because even though she can't reproduce anymore, maybe she's not in a barren state, because I was talking about barren this week, and she's not in a barren state, but she produced a son who hated her, and maybe it's probably because of, you know, whatever things that she lacked that he felt like all black women lacked after that, and not just to focus on that subject. So moving on to the second subject, I also think that his was lineage as well, so he couldn't be with my color because of the intimidation of the black woman to the black woman, okay, to the tone, because I feel like a lot of men do that as well. So it's not that I have toward you, but I have a fetishism of you that everyone else has, but I'm going to hate you like the general public does. I'm going to hate you like the general public does. And that's another different type of racist, you know what I'm saying? That's another different type of racist. That's like a coward racist to me, you know. And then the third, you know, it's like, okay, I'm going to choose the ambiguous woman. I'm not going to talk about the specificity, because he's in the mix of both. You know what I mean, both races and both faces, you know. So then we have the second lineage is, the third, you know, person. Because I really want to say this, because I really feel like I've been feeling some type of guilt for cheering for black men and being the advocate for our tone of men, you know, because I understand there's really, especially in the film and music industry, there's really only a certain array of black men. If they're not like ugly as fuck, and I'm just gonna use it, if they're not ugly as fuck and kind of look like the fucking rodent that can get whatever chick they can get because the money is now present, they're either fine and undefined. At least in my narrative, okay? I can only speak on what I know. At least in my narrative, fine and undefined, meaning they don't have really a firm establishment in the industry or in their place of entertainment, okay? So we think about that as well. So then then this is where I empathize, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, let's change the narrative. I get all happy-go-lucky about that shit. But then I had to realize that's not my responsibility for you to accept the narrative that is going to push the agenda further, okay? The agenda further of loving this color or loving these pairs. Okay, shout out to all them pairs. Because I'm not trying to, because I don't call people ugly, you know, but I say there is some creature-looking men. The same way they'll call us Rottweilers and dogs and all this other shit. Not that I identify with those animals or, you know, those, you know, whatever. But that narrative of no one runs to the black woman's aid. We'll get on there and start, but no one runs to our aid when those type of derogatory terms come out. So I'll say that shit to them. I'll say that shit to y'all. It's some ugly dog ass men looking. It's some creature looking. I'm not gonna call them ugly. Okay, that was a little mean. But it's some creature ass looking men that are tone. That the fuck. And I'm trying not to be rude. And I'm not gonna be rude because I know this man. He does roast sessions. But think about. Never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. No, I am gonna go there real quick because they got a show called, you know, Flavor of Love. And I said he ain't whatever, but imagine someone has to literally look past his looks, and because they put him on a pedestal to be clowned as, you know what I mean, a representative of black men. Look, you know what I mean? And all you have to do is put some money on him, and a whole bunch of a motherfucking show of bitches that line up for him. Sorry for the cuss word, you know. Because it's so many things like that. And I don't mind. And I was just thinking about something because I was listening to a J. Cole song. And granted, I don't put him on a reference of. And even Kendrick, I don't put him on a reference of, you know, like, oh, you got to date a dark-skinned girl. But I remember the moment I did realize that his woman was not of my, you know what I mean, of my tone. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I was listening to it, so he's like, no, I'm pretty brown, and I was like, And then later when that realization came, I was just like, Thank you for the upliftment, but you're not doing shit. You're not doing shit. With those terms, I'd rather y'all keep it out y'all motherfucking music, honestly. Because again, like she said in the video, Jackie, she said, yeah, you know who your market is, but at the same time, when y'all do that, y'all also drag us right down. Y'all also drag those lyrics into the grave with y'all. Do you understand? Those lyrics mean shit. Those lyrics mean shit. Those lyrics mean shit if you still need this color to represent your motherfucking insecurities. Period. Exactly, because because even I don't mind Chris Brown. I don't even care. I have no fucking sexual interest in this man, and half of these men I don't have sexual interest in. So it wouldn't be like a fucking hurt feeling for me that, you know what I mean, you don't prefer this type. But then when you have to, you go and identify what, you know, as a different grade of, you don't accept your own blackness. Period. I just like the references she used. Like I said, I don't have no problem with these people, but I do have a problem with their motherfucking tone and with the words they use, because you're too high into the platform to be using terminology that you know feeds you way more than the regular person. Like I said, audience. You know who your audience. You know who buy your fucking music. So the fact for you to, and I feel like it's a disrespect to art. It's really a disrespect to art that really irritates the soul out of me. That's when it becomes racist. That's when it becomes not ethical when it comes to music. Like, leave our name out of it then. Leave our name out of it. Leave our tones out of it. Leave our fucking representation out of it. Leave everything out of it. Go literally talk about them all day. Go literally talk about them all day, because they don't do shit for you. They can't manifest for you. They don't do nothing. And that's really, it's not even it's a frustration, because you capitalizing off some shit that you're not. Off some shit that you're not. You're not. You don't love these women. You don't love these people, because you hate yourself. You hate yourself. And I get it. Like, so, okay, if your mama's a certain tone, then you will admire your mama a certain tone. But go love your gorilla looking mama. If we talking about, you know, if women are you know, monkeys and et cetera, and walk rollers and shit, then your mama is the same thing. So go love a woman like your mama. That's how I feel. But y'all won't, because y'all hate that bitch. That's just what it is. Y'all hate that bitch. Really. Let's just be honest. But don't take it out on us. Don't take it out on people who actually support you, who look past that bullshit. But that y'all, man, this is how I feel. Y'all not about to discourage me. Y'all not about to be in my subconscious no more. And this is really what this message is about. I don't want y'all in my subconscious no more, because the music we listen to is a part of y'all subconscious. Y'all putting that shit in our ear and then dragging us like we here. Y'all don't fucking care about us. Like, and I'm not even trying to be rude. I'm not even trying to be rude, because it's so many lyrics you can say. It's so many lyrics you can say. And I get it. It's a real racist industry. It's a real racist industry. But you got me fucked up today and tomorrow and the next day. You go get that ambiguous looking ass bitch, and I'm sorry to call y'all that, because it's not to you. It really isn't to you, especially if you have, you know what I mean? Especially if you're daddy black. It's like, oh, you black, but you only capitalize off your blackness when it becomes important to mention you black. Only to mention you black. It ain't shit else. You don't give a fuck. All right, what challenges do you think co-created through dating outside of your race? What challenges, like I said, you gonna either fight or strike? What challenges do you think, this is just questions, what challenges do you think are co-created with dating outside of your race? You have beef with it. Again, they are reiterating back. I feel like back in the 60s is when this, I mean, it's been back in the day, you know what I'm saying, in the house, et cetera, but we're not even gonna go that far. We're gonna go back to 50 years. We're gonna go to half a century. What have we done in a half a, okay, well, 60 years, but what have we done in a half a century? Because again, we're not getting represented in films and movies. A lot of y'all are not really making independent films without it looking like bullshit. Y'all not really putting it in. Okay, so, and then I, you know, thinking about my shift and who I'm presently focused on. That makes me feel like I don't care about his shade. You understand? That's how I feel. That's really what I've been thinking about. Like, I feel like I don't care about his shade. Granted, I used to have like a, you know what I mean? Certain things we like about each other is all fetishism. That's my whole key. Everything be fetishized. But I can't deny again someone being half. I can't deny someone being half and half and saying they're not adequate enough. I feel like it's different for black men than it is for the women, because it's more of us, but y'all create war with us. It's more of us, but y'all create war with us. Okay, so y'all talk about the challenges that are co-created throughout through dating outside your race. That's exactly this conversation right here. This conversation right here from these 3 black men that were put on a pedestal with me. Not really like, nobody asked to be on a high horse, etc., etc. But the common level of respect that I have for our shade, our progression, things that we can progress with or do together. This is the challenge now. This is the challenge that is created. I know who I'm going to be. I know what my words are going to mean later, or now, whoever's watching. And the only part I don't like is that they're lazy. They're lazy. You're lazy. You're lazy when it comes to caring and catering to them. Your fucking looks are not getting. They get you places, but that is not what we need when it comes to really representing yourself. I remember when it was I forgot during the time, whoever died in 2015. Oh, Black Lives, I care about my black man going to the gas station. Bitch, but you would still send him to that motherfucking gas station. You understand? Things like that. You don't have that anger that I have. You only fake fear. You fake fear. Secondly, you want to take this motherfucking bitch with you to the top, but you don't want to motherfucking take her when you drop. You don't really have her when you drop. That's the second stream. The third, you disrespect the art. Keep our fucking name out your mouth. Keep our fucking name out your mouth. Period. Keep our fucking name out your mouth. Yeah, that's somebody watching my shit right now. And I'm getting downloads, and I'm gonna say it. Keep our fucking name out your mouth. Bitch, like I said, you watching my shit right now. This is what that is. You watching my shit right now. Go love your gorilla mama. And that's what I mean. Go love your gorilla mama. Why is it so hard to silence your self-hatred towards your own kind? That's the question. Why is it so hard to silence your hatred towards your own kind? These black mamas. Black mamas. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about them. Cause y'all go ahead and y'all coddle that same bullshit. Y'all don't hold these men. You don't hold. I don't. Okay, so the word is racist. Prejudice or demonstration. Prejudice or demonstration. Or prejudice or discrimination. That's the word what racist mean. Colorist. Discriminates against skin tones. Preference. The power of opportunity of choosing. One that is preferred. Okay. Preference. The power of opportunity of choosing. One that is preferred. That's fair. You're allowed to prefer things. Protagonist. Now let's talk about it. A protagonist is the main character of a story. The protagonist is the center of the story, makes the key decision, and experiences the consequences of those. Please get off my screen. A protagonist is the main character of a story. So you characterize us. Okay? Knowing that we're a target of humiliation, disrespect, and the ladder of non-care. Okay? Makes the key decisions, which we do, because we save y'all, and experiences the consequences of those decisions. We experience the consequences of decisions. Again, we put ourselves in the forefront to help and save y'all. Okay? The protagonist is the primary agent propelling the story forward, and is often the character who faces the most significant obstacles. If a story contains a subplot, or the narrative made up several stories, then each subplot may have its own protagonist. The protagonist is the character whose fate is most closely followed by the reader or audience. And And the antagonist will provide obstacles and complications and create conflicts that test the protagonist. Okay, so the antagonist will provide obstacles and complications and create conflicts that test the protagonist and revealing the strengths and weakness of the protagonist characters. So the strength and the weaknesses, okay? So our strength would be, that we are forgiving, we care, and we're nurturing. The weakness would be what? That we care, we're nurturing, and we represent ourselves strongly. And we're going to put ourselves in the forefront to defend y'all, no matter what the story is. Okay, so the word I have, the card that I have here is the empowerment. Assist in clarity, personal power, and self-esteem. So this benefits the digestions and aids in assimilation of life experiences. Enhances digestions and directs breath into mid, back, and adrenal glands. Energizing effects helps to cultivate passion, clarity, and personal power. So the element is fire. Instructions. Okay, we're not going to talk about the instructions, but you can do this hand position, okay? So the focus is, my inner light is vibrant, unique, and empowering. Even in the black community, the black woman will silence the other black woman, okay? So thank you guys for tuning into this episode. I will see you in next month's. Make sure you read this book, and just kind of review the things that I asked in this, in this segment, really, because it was really, it's hate-filled because I'm still processing the hate that is kind of targeted towards me. I'm processing the hate that is targeted towards me. That way I have to, again, realign my strength with myself, realign the things that I see as weaknesses. So that's kind of that's the position that we're put in for the purpose of. Okay? For the purpose of. Like, we're triggered for the purpose of, I would say we're triggered for the purpose of clout, but we're also triggered for the purpose of healing. We heal collectively ourselves, but you guys are also the effect of our healing. You're the effect of our healing. So yeah, I'll see you guys later, and I'll chat soon. Thank you.